In this video, we're going to compare the Bengle espresso machine with the DE1 espresso machine. Now, two things to note right out the bat. First, Bengle is about 50% more expensive than the DE1 espresso machine. And then secondly, and it might surprise you, they both make the same quality espresso and they both run the same application on the tablet. So here we're going to talk about the differences between the two machines and why you might want to pay a little bit more for Bengle. The first difference is the scale. On Bengle, the scale is built into the drip tray. On the DE1, you'll want to find yourself a Bluetooth scale, connect it, and put it on top of the drip tray. In both cases, your shots will stop at the weight desired. Both machines feature our water mixing technology, which takes two pumps and mix hot and cold water instantly to give you the temperature that you wanted. There is a difference, though, in how they drive. One is the sound on the DE1 will be more as the water is pushed out at the volume you want, whereas on Bengle, the sound will be more. The reason is the driving on Bengle of the pumps is at a very high frequency, very short piston movements, whereas on the DE1, there's large piston movements and less frequent. The technology is completely different. What that will give you, though, on Bengle is much smoother water flow, as well as about 50% faster peak water. Now, peak water is useful when you're making an Americano. It's also useful if you want to emulate a lever espresso machine, as levers have tremendously fast flow rates at the very beginning. Next is cup storage. On the top of the DE1, you really don't want to be putting a cup. It'll just fall off and there's not much space anyway. Plus, the top of the DE1 is cool. On Bengle, there's a built-in cup warmer controlled by a thermostat, so you can put up to 25 cups on the very top and they're heated to exactly the temperature that you want. Steaming milk. On the DE1, you'll want a milk pitcher and a milk thermometer. That will allow you to hear when the thermometer beeps when you should stop the steam. But on Bengle, the milk thermometer is built into the steam wand itself, or you can remove it if you want to use a traditional milk thermometer, which you'll need for the DE1. Next, the tablet. On the DE1, you've got an 8-inch tablet at a 1280 by 800 resolution. Here on Bengle, you've got an 11-inch tablet made by Samsung at a 1080p resolution. Bengle has two plugs, both USB-C, for charging your tablet either here or on the side. On the DE1, the charger is a USB-A with a USB-C connector on it. In both cases, you can take the tablet right off and put it next to the espresso machine. Let me show you how to do that. You can then choose to use the espresso machine like this. You don't actually need to use the tablet except maybe to change profiles. But if you're going to use just one profile, you can just use the group head controller to make your coffees. The other advantage of this approach, especially on Bengle, is that you have very good access to the cups. Because of the pumps and greater wattage, Bengle can output hot water at about 50% more speed than the DE1. Also, because the pumps are running at a high frequency, a smooth flow of water comes out, whereas in the DE1, the water tends to be a bit jittery and splashy. The warm-up time on Bengle is about half the time of the DE1. Both are really fast. You're looking at 4.5 minutes for the DE1 to warm up and about 2 minutes for Bengle to warm up. Both machines use the refill kits, so you can plumb them or put them into a water tank. It's the same kit for both of them. With both models, you can run them plumbed in or manually refilling them. Both of them have a tank that's about 2 liters in capacity. On this model, the DE1 XL, in order to take the tank out, in order to refill it, you take the back panel off, lift this lever here, take out the drip tray, and then pull it forward. At this point, you're going to pour water in and then do the same thing in reverse. On Bengle, the process is similar, just a little bit easier. You take the drip tray off the front, drip tray and cover, and then you can just pull the water tank forward. You don't have to lift the lever anymore. The lever is just there if you want to take the tank completely out for cleaning. Speaking of which, the tank on Bengle is a new process. On the DE1, the tank is made of porcelain. It's rather thick, and if you drop it, it will shatter. On Bengle, we've gone to a new process. This is a stainless steel form on which we've baked at high temperature an enamel coating. It has all the same food safety as porcelain on the DE1, but it's much lighter and much more damage resistant. The same portafilters and group head handles work on both machines, but as far as standard goes, the DE1, being black, comes with a black resin set of handles that look like black piano keys, and Bengle comes with oak wood handles. If you get the sculptural model of Bengle, instead of oak handles, it'll come with a handle that is more appropriate to that metal cover. The DE1 comes in two levels of steaming power. There's the DE1 Pro and XL, which will take about 38 seconds to heat a normal-sized latte. There's the DE1 XL, which cuts that down to about 28 seconds. Now that's as fast as the DE1 series get. Bengle, on the other hand, will speed that up even more, so you're looking at something on the order of 14 seconds to heat up a latte, much faster than even the XXL, and really commercial-grade steam power. To get that extreme steam power, you will, however, need a 15 amp 240 volt plug. We also offer Bengle in a 10 amp 240 volt version, which is the same steaming power as the DE1 XXL, as well as a 120 volt version, which then brings the steaming power down to the same as the DE1. However, the pump technology in Bengle will give you the same absolute flow rates on all voltages, even down to 120 volts. It's only the heating power that suffers as you go to lower amounts of electricity. On the DE1, the Steam 1 tip is made of metal and it does heat up. That means that when you have to clean it, you will want to use a cleaning cloth that's got water in it and give it a little wipe. On Bengle, we got rid of that slight annoyance. We have made a Steam 1 tip out of a plastic called PPS, which is the same plastic used for baby bottles. It does not warm up at all, and so the milk doesn't adhere to it and wipes off really easily. Next, you'll notice that there's a large ball joint on the DE1. The steam is coming from a boiler to this point, goes through the ball joint, goes through here, and comes out there. That means that this ball joint gets extremely hot. Not only do we lose steam power with that, but also it's a burn risk. With Bengle, we got rid of that problem. The steam goes directly from the boiler through a tube, through this joint, all the way to the tip. That means this no longer gets burning hot. It also means greater efficiency for a little bit more steaming power. Height adjustable feet. On the DE1, we have these rubber feet that really hold the machine in place. However, they are not height adjustable. That means if your countertop is not level, your DE1 won't be level as well. On Bengle, we have height adjustable feet. These little feet here rotate and they go up or down, and all 4 feet can be adjusted to any camber of your top. A water tank lid is not included on the DE1, and it's something separate you can purchase if it's something you think you need. Here's how it works. You take the drip tray off, slide the water tank out, and then put the water tank lid on top. Slide that all back into place. On Bengle, you don't have to do any of that. There is an integrated lid directly in it. This is a silicone foam with a Teflon top, which is completely food safe. There's sliders here made of Teflon, which makes the action really smooth. You just put the water tank in, slide it in like this, and you'll feel it stop, and then it locks into place. What's happened is it's pushed the tank up against the foam, snugly held by that foam. Both machines feature a shot mirror, so you can see your espresso pouring out of the portafilter without having to bend over and look up. On the DE1, that mirror is made of plastic and it's stuck on, so if you do scratch it, you can remove it with a hairdryer and put a new one on. On Bengle, the mirror is made of polished steel. It's more durable and it's a higher quality mirror as well. If you do happen to scratch it, it still can be easily replaced with 2 screws here, and we'll just send you a replacement mirror that you pop right in. Getting into the nitty-gritty now, the group head part inside here is made of brass on the DE1. On Bengle, it's made of cast stainless steel, which is even more durable. On Bengle, there's lighting built into the case. This part here is lit. From the back, you can see the back panel lit. And quite usefully, there's a lighting strip right here, which lights up your espresso as it's pouring. Naturally, on the DE1, there's no lighting at all. You may be wondering, what's the future of the DE1? Well, the future is very good. Our goal is to have a line of espresso machines all making the same quality, all running the same apps. So the DE1 has been with us from the very first day, and it is something we are going to continue to make, and it will continue to be a lower cost machine than the Bengle. Both machines make the same quality espresso, both run the same firmware, both run the same software on the app. It's all the little finishing touches that make the difference. Whether Bengle is worth more money to you than the DE1 is really your decision to make. Thanks for watching this comparison of the DE1 and the Bengle from Decent Espresso.